Welcome to New Zealand. Thanks for joining me. Welcome to summer in New Zealand. I think we're in the third day of summer, December the 3rd. You probably won't be seeing this until about December the 5th or 6th, I'm not too sure. But start of summer over here, and end of spring has been beautiful, and the start of summer is continuing the same way. Today I'm just at a kind of a little disused wharf, which is on Lake Taupo. This is my second visit this week to this little spot. My first visit didn't end the way I wanted it to. My pictures were no good, and hence the title of this video, failure and dealing with it, and the reality that the relationship that I have anyway with film photography and failure. I think it's a big part of film photography. And I want to talk about that today. At the moment though, I'm just going to carry on taking some pictures here, trying to get some decent pictures here today, trying to kind of overcome my problems, I guess. So I want to carry on doing that, and then in a little while we'll come back and we'll talk about the subject of this video, which is, I guess, failure and how you deal with it. Let's carry on with the photography. Put your feet up for a few minutes and we'll talk in a minute. I wanted to talk about this whole failure thing in photography and the relationship, for me anyway, that I have with, things not going as expected. My week I've had this week, in the past 7 days, I've had some frustrating experiences. I think I shot 5 rolls of film this week, or 120 film. I think every roll I've shot in some way, shape or form has kind of had some issues. Kind of started last week, my previous vlog, I shot a roll of film, and every picture was a disaster. I just completely misinterpreted my light, my exposure settings, and every shot was rubbish. And I didn't say anything on the video about it. I didn't kind of make any comments about it, but I was very disappointed with my photos, and it kind of carried on through the week. I had a few other instances. I was here at this spot here, for instance, taking pictures, and similar things. More compositionally, I had issues, but also just interpreting light with film, and just film has this habit of just kind of tapping you on the shoulder every now and again, and just reminding you that, hey, just when you think you're starting to get good with it, just when you think that you're starting to understand it, it has this habit of just reminding you that you're not actually as good as you think you are, and puts you in your place. I think one of the good things about films, it builds fortitude, it builds strength. I see some people that have taken up film photography and have got out of it pretty quickly, simply because the gratification isn't always so immediate. The gratification isn't always so glorious. The gratification isn't always in abundance all the time. It's a very trying experience at the best of times. To give you a few examples, visualization is very important in photography, pre-visualization, and I think film photography actually builds that very strongly in you. You have to visualize your scene pre-putting that viewfinder to your eye, you have to visualize an image that you're taking, and film photography really hones that skill. Particularly with black and white photography also, which is what I do a lot of. You not only have to kind of pre-visualize what your final image is going to look like, because you get no immediate response from your camera. You have to wait till you develop that film. You have to wait till you print and you scan or whatever. You don't get the feedback until you're at that point, really. When I'm shooting a roll of film, for instance, I'll kind of pre-visualize. Try to visualize what my image is going to come out like, and try and think about how the light's working in the scene, how I compose my shot, and try to imagine how black and white is going to interpret what I'm seeing in front of me. And sometimes I get it spot on, and other times, more often than not, the final image that I see when I scan or when I look at negatives just doesn't hit the mark as to where I thought it was going to hit. Doesn't the picture. Hear those tuis? The tuis are out. Sorry, I had to talk about tuis. That wasn't a soundbite. That was real. And the feeling you get when you see that image in front of you that you finally get to see when you've scanned it or whether you've printed it or whatever, and when what you visualize the image to be and the reality of what you actually finally get, when those two things are miles apart, the feeling can be quite gutting. There are so many points in the process for film also that can go wrong. Today, for instance, I've been shooting, and just little things like forgetting to take my lens cap off, forgetting to take off the mirror lock, to bring that mirror up so I don't get camera shake. Not setting my, like I'm doing a long exposure and not being in bulb mode. I think I've wasted 2 or 3 shots today just on things like that, and it's very frustrating. It's very, very frustrating. So there's things, in the field that can go wrong. There's things in development that can go wrong. Last week, for instance, I was shooting a roll of this Cosmo mono film, and I came to development process, got it in the development bag, and the film just was very thin, very flappy, and if you have developed 120 film before, it's difficult getting it on that spool at the best of times. This stuff was near impossible, so a near miss there. I managed to get it on the spool, but it could have easily have gone wrong. Could have easily have, wrecked the roll right there and then. So all my previous work to that was history. The development process itself can go wrong. You can get your chemicals wrong. Just something as simple as, I've done this before, picking your fixer's developer and chucking that in, and then, man, there's no turning back. Just one little thing like that can just make the whole thing a disaster, and it can be very hard. And there's times when I feel, why am I doing this? I think at the end of the day, what keeps me going anyway with film photography is that feeling you get when you see that one picture that just changes everything. That one image that you couldn't have shot that on a digital camera. That everything's fallen into place. You've got your exposure right, you've got your composition right, you developed it well. The negative looks beautiful. You scan it, and that image, you see the grain, the character that you can't get. No matter how good your camera, you can't get. No matter how good your processing software is, you can't get that image that that the only way of getting that image was on a bit of film. It's that one picture that keeps you going through a lot of failures and keeps you moving forward. Hope all that makes sense today. I hope I've kind of made a point with this whole failure thing and what it is and how important it is and its relationship with film photography. I'm going to go back now. I'm going to go and develop the roll that I shot this morning, and I have a feeling that there could be a few failures on that roll. I know there was a few failures. I'm going to go back and develop it. I'm going to show you those images now in all their glory, for good and for bad. I'm not going to hide anything, so let's go and see what we got, and keep our fingers crossed and wait in anticipation for the results. Let's get into it. Let's go and do it. Well, that's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed kind of my ramblings again this week, and I hope you got something from it and something worthwhile to take away, and hopefully give you some inspiration to do something yourself this week. Before I go, just quickly, if you want to support my channel, you can do that by buying my book Stolen Moments. Stolen Moments is a book about my film photography, some of my triumphs, I guess. It's available from my website. I'll put a link here for it. There's also a link below for that also. Also, I have a limited edition print pack available, which is available. I'll put a link below for that. Stolen Moments print pack, a series of 5 prints that I've taken from the book. All the prints are individually initialed, signed and numbered. There's still a few copies of that left available. Once they're gone, and they won't come back. So that's my print pack, which is also available. Links below for that. Go and check it out, please. I'd appreciate it. I don't have sponsors, so if you want to support my channel, that's the best way you can do that. I'd appreciate it. That's it for this week. Thanks for joining me. Hopefully the next few days will be more successful for me. We'll have to wait and see, but it's all part of it. I've got to go now. I've got to start thinking about my next vlog, so take care. Make sure you come back. I'll see you again next time. Haere rā from New Zealand. Goodbye.